let's talk about the roadblocks facing Orange County's ambitious plan for better transportation, David. And is halting a tax hike really the best move? Let's go.
All right. Orange County's Mayor Jerry Demings halted his campaign to increase local sales tax for transportation improvements, citing a lack of support from commissioners. The proposed half-penny increase could generate $10 billion, and a full penny increase could generate $20 billion over 20 years. This was intended for enhancing public transit, roads, bridges, sidewalks, and trails. Not this time. Maybe next time. What say you? What's going on?
I say not next time either, David. I think that this push for public transportation that Demings and others have pushed out is a load of pandering and not a lot of doing. When you look at the recent developments, they want to widen highways. They want to invest more in parking. They're still building for cars. Meanwhile, claiming that we're somehow working for public transportation, but those two pushes are at complete odds with one another. And when we do get any kind of expansions to public transportation, it's the frickin' Swan shuttles. It's some weird gimmick. It's not relying on a method that has been proven to work. This isn't like trams or buses or anything like that. It's some random gimmicks. And again, I think this was very predictable of Demings. I think he just didn't want to raise the taxes. Maybe that was it. Didn't feel like raising taxes. And I'm sure there is at least some part of the constituency that is happy that taxes are lower. I'm sure there is. But me personally, I'm very disappointed. I can't say I'm surprised this was going to happen. We need better transportation in Orange County because, we're making more and more urban sprawl. I want to get cars off the road.
Sure. Right. More walkable communities, less cars, more healthy environment. I was involved in a seminar with the Florida Chamber of Commerce last night, and there was a graphic, and this graphic is and should be available on their dashboard. Just go to the Florida Chamber, and it will direct you to their dashboard of, charts, data, statistics about Florida, and they anticipate by 2040, 15 years roughly, almost 3 million more cars on our roads. And as we see in the recent legislation passed by signed by Governor Ron DeSantis, there is this focus forward for more roads. Not high-speed rail, as we discussed in another podcast. Please check that one out, everyone. But more highways, more roads, paving everything over. We see the city of Orlando recently annexing the Deseret development, Sunbridge, to make another Lake Nona in eastern Orange County. This is what your future Florida is going to look like. This is urban sprawl. It's on its way. And it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat in office. This is the way for the future.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate, too, because it's also the least sustainable path to development we could do. I'm not going to go into that again. I'm not going to be a broken record like I am on every other episode of this podcast that we do.
I'll do it.
But ultimately, the fact of building roads is that it's a very band-aid solution. Because what will happen as roads get built? Developments will be built alongside the roads. They'll be built off the roads, you know? And the traffic problem, we're just going to end up back where we were. It's just a matter of time. It's not sustainable because you're not actually attacking the source of traffic. You're temporarily expanding the capacity, and then you're going to fill it right back up to capacity again. It's a beautiful kind of non-solution. One of those things that will win you points temporarily and then get you right back where you need to be. This is the kind of nonsense that you can get out of government sometimes.
Right. And, this money was going to go towards, expanded links bus service, extended rail lines for Sunrail, better and safer roads and bridges, more sidewalks and trails, et cetera, et cetera. Well, in regards to the Sunrail, I believe the governor just stated that there will be no more state funding for the Sunrail. The economic burden will be on the counties that Sunrail goes through: Osceola, Orange, Seminole, Volusia. And that's not cheap. A rail service that pretty much goes north and south, a commuter rail service that runs north and south, that's not available on the weekend, and there are no evening hours service. So even that is a problem. Lynx, for instance, has that corridor downtown where you have the ability to ride for free around downtown. When I'm downtown, I don't see too many people using it. We can move those buses, incorporate it into the regular route system, and get more of those buses when they're operational to operate out in Lake Nona, out in Christmas and Bithlo and Apopka, increase the ridership there. It's unfortunate for the mayor. He took an L for this one, a big L for this one, but the commissioners, they signaled that they just couldn't support it this year. And maybe 2026 is a different story. However, our roads are falling apart, our bridges are falling apart, the infrastructure in general is falling apart. It needs improvement. And everyone keeps looking at that tourism tax dollars as a means of helping support our infrastructure. And that's a no-go. So
it is. And if you look at one of our episodes from way back called the Deming's Lofty Expansion Plans, you'll see where that money is going instead of our roads. Mm-hmm. The money is going to convention centers. Some of it went to the automated self-driving cars that went about as bad as you could have expected it to have gone.
Yeah.
We're taking the money from our tourism, which is our best industry, and we're not putting it towards productive projects. We're putting it towards weird gimmicks like the Swan or that convention center, which is so unnecessary because we have convention centers and they're not like booked year round or anything. It's not like there's been that many people asking, like saying, "Man, I love Orlando. I like the convention centers. I just needed even bigger." I don't think that was a very common complaint that we received, given that they're expensive.
Yeah.
Those convention centers are expensive. Not very many. How many conventions do you think happen, and how many conventions do you think happen here? If of course these convention centers were booked year round, and you want to add a new convention center, we would be like, okay, we're going to see returns. But instead, we're investing our money into the convention center, which will not see that great of returns since the other ones aren't always booked.
Yes.
To Swans, which have no return at all since they are all rotting in a landfill somewhere. And that was more important, wasting our money on nothing than filling potholes. Right. Unfortunately, I guess it's easy to get excited about the prospect of huge new projects, but that is not a good excuse to abandon the nuts and bolts of the county, the nuts and bolts of what needs to be done. And that's, I think, the disappointment here. We see the priorities very, very clearly.
Exactly. The large amount of money that went to the convention center. If the roads and bridges and infrastructure means that much, it should have been invested into, that money should have been invested into the roads and trails and sidewalks and so forth and so on. The bill is going to be bigger as each day, as each week, as each year passes, with the planned annexation.
Annexation.
Thank you. You know I need something to eat right now. Annexation of some bridge that's going to weigh heavy on the infrastructure. So, Orlando, Orange County, Central Florida is in a tough space. And it's a hard decision for the commissioners also. However, there's a way. There's a way. And we need for our voters to be active and conscious that there are some serious decisions ahead, and we need really good people with some great innovative ideas to represent our communities to address the infrastructure issues that we have, and because those issues are our kitchen table issues. That's my final word, Kellen.
Yeah, to bring it back around to what we were saying in the beginning, building wide also means more roads. And more roads means even more maintenance. Bills like this that right now are too challenging to maintain our roads, it's just going to keep getting worse the more roads we build. This is why we do need to build tall instead of just keep building out suburbs that people can't afford anyway. So why are we building them? Ultimately, don't be confused by the label of the party that you see on the ballot. Their priority, Demings and company, is not in that developing sustainable space. They're in the same kind of headspace that the Republicans are in, the one of pro-business, pro-development, all of that, bulldoze over nature, fill the wetlands. It's, again, politics can all be labels sometimes that don't mean anything on their own.
Indeed.
I'm not surprised by what we've seen here. I see a lot of people that are surprised that Demings came out and then suspended this thing. I'm not shocked. But I am still disappointed regardless. And what would make it better would be if you liked, commented, and shared. We are trying to grow our community. We want to have this conversation with more than just David and I talking about transportation, roads, our development, our kitchen table issues. For all you younger folk out there like me, what Orange County are your kids going to live in if they live in Orange County? I'm right now. I would love to live here for a long, long time, but man, sometimes I worry. But maybe you guys disagree with us. Maybe you think this is what Demings did was the right move, and if so, we want to know why. Because that's very interesting to us. We love conversations. Bring your facts, not your feelings. I don't really think I have anything else to add. This has been You Can't Make This Shit Up, and we are